Hi, my name is Mark Walker and I'm the editorial director at the FinTech Times, and we're here at Seamless Middle East in Dubai for Seamless TV. I'm going to ask my interviewee to introduce himself to you, the audience, now.
Thank you very much, Mark. My name is Bassem Awada. I'm the Middle East North Africa General Manager for TerraPay, and I do handle global accounts for the company as well. I've been with TerraPay since 2020, and I've been in Dubai, living in Dubai since 2006, by the way. So I've seen some of the evolution of Dubai.
I can imagine 2006, in Dubai terms, that is ancient history.
Absolutely.
Yeah, been around for a long time.
Absolutely.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about TerraPay and sort of where it sort of started off.
Sure.
I guess the clue is in the name. It's about payments.
It's about payments, absolutely. Absolutely. So TerraPay started off in an incubator program under the Mahindra Group in India back in 2015, where the founders have decided to possibly create a connectivity between mobiles, and eventually the idea started to evolve into why don't we do payments at cross-border level. Of course, this transition started as well, or triggered, if you want, the initiation of our technology, which was built in-house altogether from 2015 all the way to when we spun off from the incubator. That was in 2020. So through those 5 years, we built several partnerships on the receive side. We took on board as well some licenses, some money transfer licenses, so that we will be able to manage access to countries and so on and so forth. Fast forward 2020 March, we spin off from the incubator from Mahindra, and then we get acquired by 3 investors: IFC, which is part of World Bank, Partech, it's a French VC, and Prime Ventures, it's a Dutch VC. All 3 of them are very much geared towards supporting technology companies, but specifically that are meaningful for what we call financial inclusion, which was, of course, a theme back then, extremely trending, and of course, rightly so, because as we know, there's more than 3/4 of the globe that remains unbanked, I would say, or underserved. That said, our technology was able to eventually capture a lot of attention, and since we spun off with the investments given to us in Series A, we're able to expand to a stage where today we are available to pay out across bank accounts and wallets across 110 countries, with a reach of around 7.5 billion bank accounts and 2.1 billion wallets across those 110 countries, and that's an evolving number, right? So as we go along, we open countries. Hopefully we should be ending this year around 130 countries reach. Of course, the technology gives us a lot of capabilities to be very interoperable, to connect the dots between 2 legacy systems, let's put it this way, and to have a seamless transaction, as they say, right? Frictionless, fully digitized. We're talking about payments only in bank accounts and wallets to keep the transaction altogether digital from end to end as well. We're talking about 97% of our traffic that runs under 1 minute to be end to end terminated into bank accounts and wallets. Of course, what I add to that only, and that would be my last statement, is the fact that we are licensed and authorized in 27 different geographies and jurisdictions, which gives us as well this pedigree of not only being a processor, but as well being as engaged as the licensed entity on the send side and the licensed entity on the receive side to report back to the regulator all our traffic. We today, of course, report back to multiple regulators depending on which jurisdiction are we working from. For instance, across the GCC, we usually sign partners from our UK license, and we report to the FCA in this sense.
Yeah, okay. Really interesting. You mentioned a couple of interesting things in that, and one of the ones was trends that you're seeing, especially in the financial inclusion area and unbanked. And as you sort of say, you obviously are offering bank accounts and mobile wallets. And I guess mobile wallets are most interesting for the unbanked because the opportunity to still move money around but don't have to go through the whole process of being a bank. Are you seeing that trend grow significantly more towards mobile wallets now?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you know, the industry is really moving towards much more digital, I would say, platforms. And this is, I think, possibly you've heard it from others as well. I think what really triggered a drastic move into digitization is COVID, because then it really pushed people to become more, I would say, entrepreneurs on deciding how do they want to do their financial transaction. They needed control, they needed transparency, they needed speed, efficiencies, etc., etc. And I think we were there at the right time, at the right place, similar to many other players as well, to really offer something that is meaningful specifically for the wallet holders. So today, while possibly 5 or 10 years back, a wallet could have been barely a means of receiving some money and eventually cashing out this money, today it's a hub for a complete set of transactions, whether we're talking about inbound transactions or outbound transactions, for those wallet holders to avail. Not only locally, but as well internationally, and I'll explain some of the initiatives we've taken as TerraPay, in fact, to produce a unique product today for wallet holders. And that would really specifically funnel into the concept of financial inclusion. As we go along, in fact, we have created, through partnerships we have with Network International, the capability for wallet holders in Africa, in multiple countries in Africa, to use those wallets abroad as a payment instrument. And by that, you're giving the chance for a non-served customer to use a wallet as a debit card and to pay in local currency. So today, as we speak, a Ugandan wallet holder or a M-Pesa Kenyan wallet holder can travel to Dubai, buy a cup of coffee, pay this cup of coffee from the M-Pesa wallet he has, through a QR code system, through the POS systems that we are enabled with NI, our partner, and pay with it in local currency, in Kenyan shillings, and eventually settled in a very competitive FX rate.
Yeah.
Which gives as well this possibility, as I said, to cater for. However, on the other side, let's consider the evolution that took place today with the wallet schemes that became much more interesting for wallet holders in terms of what do I do with this money that I have on my wallet and how can I make the maximum use of it, right? We could see in the olden days, and I've been in this industry for the last 15 and a half years now, a lot of the money resides on those wallets unused because the systems were not ready to eventually avail. But today, in today's world, you have wallets that are extremely dynamic in terms of what to do with this money to the last dime as such. So that's very interesting.
Yeah. And I guess sort of thinking, and I see for TerraPay moving much more into that embedded finance sort of realm now as well. And I guess as you were sort of saying, the natural development of mobile wallets is then once you've started serving somebody in that way, you can then start adding in other areas. Are you moving into that more embedded finance play, marketplace, offering other solutions to those wallet holders?
So far, I think our focus is to make sure that we present to our partners rails to deposit in those wallets, which is, by the way, the engine of the movement of those wallets itself, because without the funds in, there's no funds out, eventually. We make it seamlessly. The technology is extremely agile, very nimble, very efficient, very transparent as well to the sender and to the receiver at the same time, with a technology that is, again, extremely affordable. And by that, I really mean the fact that today we are really contributing to bringing people to the system that are today possibly transacting outside the system because of our affordability. And that's, I think, one of the components our partners are enjoying today across the GCC, if I need to take, and eventually globally.
Okay. And so the focus at the moment is raw about spreading the word effectively, getting more and more people to sign up. What sort of growth are you sort of seeing with sort of the GCC in particular? Are you seeing very high growth at the moment?
So, if I need to answer this from an TerraPay perspective, we're still at very high double-digit growth because we're still establishing ourselves as such. Let's only remember that we only really started expanding when we spun off in 2020. We spent 1 year at home, everybody was on lockdown, so little to do, but then again, a lot in terms of expanding and of course getting online to access and so on and so forth. Today, as we speak, the Gulf represents one of our top 10 performing regions in the sense. Specifically, if we talk about the UAE, ranks within the top 10 strongly, I would say. Of course, followed by Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, in terms of capabilities we have, in terms of partnerships we're having. Today, we're across multiple partnerships across the GCC region, and at the same time, with a diverse, I would say, texture. So we have fintechs in our portfolio, we have regular FX houses, of course, through their retail branches or through their online digital assets. We have telcos, so beyond Batelco, Bahrain is with us as a partner. And we have as well banks that are hopefully soon coming into the action because we're going through integrations with them and so on and so forth. So a complete set of services given to multiple platforms. So at any point of time, a customer would like to avail services that are very transparent, extremely efficient, fast, they could eventually get to those platforms. By the way, we're a B2B, so we're not really branded. So the consumer doesn't see TerraPay. We're a white label, eventually, service provider. But then again, we'd like to think of ourselves as partners that are very engaged on the send and receive side. Yeah.
I think someone framed it to me once as you're the plumbers. You make the pipe work and you make all the bits that happen underneath, but you're nicely concealed in that way.
Absolutely.
But as we sort of say, and as we're here at Seamless, you make the payment process seamless.
Absolutely.
Effectively.
100%.
Thinking a little bit now for my final question about the future. Crystal ball sort of time. What do you think we're going to be talking about when we sit here next year? What are the trends that you are really interested and excited about in payments?
Absolutely, and we're equally excited ourselves as TerraPay. So TerraPay, by the way, let's say reflects or is represented into two main pillars, right? Verticals. One of which is the international money transfer, and the second is the payments. Under international money transfer, everything lies around peer-to-peer transactions, peer-to-business, business-to-peer, or even business-to-business, right? So that's IMT. What's payments is what's very interesting. I think the next 5 years is going to only, or at least in its majority, in fact, revolve around what's happening in the world of payments. Today, if we talk about travel, ticketing, tuitions, utilities, payroll, there's a huge requirement for services around those, by the way, right? I mean, there's a lot done, but then again, there's still a lot that is not really covered, neither from a reach perspective nor from a technology perspective, and there is still friction today as we speak in this, I would say, momentum altogether. I think in our minds as TerraPay, the aspiration is to really establish very solid grounds on what we need to do in terms of providing technologies, and the technology is ready with us today. We're just trying to commercialize it today to enable those small-time payments, because as we speak, nobody would want to get, at least the legacy systems don't want to get into such services as such, because for them, they're very, very heavy to manage, because they're very small payments, but then again, the volume is huge. I think this is where we should come in, because we're a technology provider only. We're very light in our methodologies, and we're eventually capable, right? Because we're very scalable from a volumes perspective. We can definitely cater for connectivities here and there. We're licensed, so we have capabilities as well to give. So I think the next 5 years, if we sit the same way, hopefully, we should be talking about what's happening on the payments front.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me at Seamless TV, powered by the FinTech Times.
Thank you so much.